My definition of rock and roll is kind of obliterated. People talk about it being an attitude, but I don't really like the attitude now. I think it's cliche. I mean, one of the big things with this record was that I'd learned how to use a studio. It's the first time that I'd had my own studio and I'd learned all the, Pro Tools and all that nonsense. I was aware of this kind of worry when I was making some music that, that's not really very Kills, how could we do that? And that kind of made me think like, that's a stupid thing to think. So I invented this side project just to stop the internal worry. So it was like, no, it was called LA Hex, that's for LA Hex, this is for the Kills. Knowing that I was tricking myself and that Alison would bust me and say, no, these are all the Kills, you idiot.
Yeah, he played me LA Hex and I felt like it was absolutely a Kills song.
I still got my ways, I still got my ways.
It was very hard to tell at the time. I mean, I think we were so insular and like doing what we were doing. And then I only felt that we were part of something bigger when we went on tour and played festivals, and suddenly we had this massive gang of friends.
I just remember hearing a record on the radio, which didn't blow my mind. I'd heard this kind of thing before, but I hadn't heard it as a modern thing, and it was the Strokes. And then shortly after that, I heard White Stripes. And we were making music then, desperately thinking, well, we're never going to get a record deal because no one's going to. And it was just like, kind of like metaphorically running to Alison to say, have you heard this? This is going on, they're doing what we're doing. And then it was this feeling that the door was being kicked open. Then as soon as they started writing about us in this garage rock scene, I hated it, rebelled against it, didn't want anything to do with it.
I remember Enemy for like 3 years straight, just being like every single day there was a new band that you'd never heard of that kind of sucked on the front cover. I don't know where they are now. I think that there were a handful of bands that actually really meant it, that weren't sort of jumping on a bandwagon, that were really creating something different and unique,
What does Keep On Your Mean Side mean to you?
Oh, it's our first record, so it's so special to me. I mean, I remember being in that studio. I remember writing these things. I remember dueling on a typewriter to come up with a band name. I mean, it was the beginning.
I think I see it I see it more as an experience now when I look back at it. It's more of an experience that I'm remembering rather than a record.
It was pretty cool to have just that one record, and we only had that many songs to play, and we didn't have any other songs.
We had a 35-minute set.
That was it, yeah. Just like we can play that record and then we have to go.
I mean, that's half the reason we wrote some of those songs, because we didn't have it. We only had a 35-minute set, and we had to write Fuck the People, and then, some sort of extended kissy jam. I think definitely since we started, the music industry has changed in a handful of severely different ways, really changed a lot.
If people don't pay for music, I don't really know how bands can show up, really, in the long run. After a while, after you exhaust all your resources and there's no way to bring any more in, it's a fucked up situation.
This is like capitalism at its worst, where your success is only judged by popularity and kind of financial status, really. How much you have in the bank and how popular you are. That's the only gauge of success anymore. And it kind of seems obvious saying it, but it didn't used to be like that. It really didn't. In fact, it was the opposite in the music industry. It was like you're a cock if you were commercial and like super popular. It's like, dude, anyone can do that.